What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm next. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we are headed over to CNN studios, because recently Dana Bash, or Dana Bash, I believe it's pronounced Dana Bash technically, completely humiliated Kamala Harris on CNN. Completely humiliated her. As the article reads, but we are going to get into the video. Trust me. CNN's Bash says you could start a drinking game for every time Harris uses the same talking point. That is so true. And that is one of the many criticisms that stand out concerning Kamala Harris. It stands out like a sore thumb. She is so on script and so unoriginal and so uninspiring that people can't even ignore this about her anymore. And this is probably one of the main reasons that, as it pertains to polling, we see that she has hit her ceiling, and she's at a point of stagnation where there is no growth, and you can now see regression. She's actually sliding in the polls a bit now. What I want to do before we get into what Dana Bash stated is that I want to take a moment to play a clip that I played yesterday, but I do want to play it again, where we're just going to highlight the script, or scripts, plural, that Kamala Harris goes through every single time she's interviewed. Now, mind you, what you're going to see here, this is a time frame of 8 days. 8 days in which Kamala Harris is just repeating the same thing over and over again, no matter who she's talking to. And this was compiled by Fox News. Let's get into this clip here, and then we're going to get into what Dana Bash said on CNN.
We got it. Hit play.
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams.
The ambition, the aspiration, the dream.
I started my career as a prosecutor.
I was a career prosecutor for most of my career.
Having a background as a prosecutor.
I intend to create an opportunity economy.
Developing and creating an opportunity economy.
What I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy.
There is nothing original about Kamala Harris. I often joke about, even though I'm not joking, but I often joke about being a Russian bot powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, created to push misinformation on YouTube to trick Black Americans to vote for Trump. But Kamala looks like a Russian bot, an American bot, powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT on a regular basis every time she opens her mouth, because she simply repeats the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter who she's talking to. It doesn't matter the venue. It could be a sit-down interview, or it could be a debate, or it could even be a rally. She just repeats the same script. And that's what has led us to the point to where even Dana Bash is now humiliating her on live television for millions to see and hear. But it's not just joking and humiliation. It's simply the truth. It's simply the truth. And there's a reason that I believe that Dana is actually saying this live, for the world to hear her say. But I'll get into that shortly. Let's get into the actual CNN clip, though.
Listen to Kamala Harris on what she will do. You can almost start a drinking game every time she says small businesses.
She says that.
Funny enough, and I'll start taking from the top again. A lot of people have accused Kamala Harris of like being drunk all the time. There's accusations, unfounded accusations. I'll say I'll throw her a little bail. Unfounded accusations. All right, I'll cut her some slack that she has a drinking problem, and that she's drunk every time she does these interviews, and particularly speeches and rallies. There's a lot of funny clips of her out there just seeming a little, I don't know, maybe a little on the sauce prior to heading out to speak to the public.
Because when we think about the strength of our democracy, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, oh, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature. And it is very fragile. It will only be as strong as our willing.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
But, once again, I don't know. There are accusations. We don't know if that's true or not. I'll throw her a little bail and say it's unfounded. Come on, I don't think she's out here just drunk in front of the people. Okay. I don't think she's out here drunk, but you all let me know in the comment section below. You think Kamala's getting drunk before these rallies and that's why she sounds the way she does? Let me know in the comment section below.
When you listen to Kamala Harris and what she will do, you can almost start a drinking game every time she says small businesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, she says that. She also talks about being a middle-class kid. That's also at the front of her answers. If you look at the interviews they've been doing with local media, and they've opened up a bit more since the debate, the first question is often, what are you going to do to lower prices? Which is a very hard question for an incumbent party to answer. And it has implications that are very Trumpian. It is, Trump says he's going to do mass deportation. That'll decrease demand. Trump says he'll explore more energy. That'll decrease energy costs. Democrats can point to the fact that inflation is actually, it was bad 2 years ago. It's not now. What people want to hear is, how do you make the prices go down? So everything she says is something realistic that could survive a fact check that answers a very hard question. There is not a plan to say that we're going to lower the cost of your grocery bill to what it was in 2019. There was a pandemic. There was a money supply inflation. You can't hit the button that makes that go away. But Trump has an answer that gets him through these questions. And Harris, I think, with a different set of incentives and a different relationship to something she can back up in a policy paper, she doesn't have an answer. So she goes to a larger, well, imagine a future where there are more businesses and this starts to ameliorate.
So what he's saying is very interesting, and it's very true, because when Trump is asked those same questions, he has an answer that makes sense to the question that's being asked of him. When Kamala is asked those type of questions, she starts getting into, as this man stated, imagination. Imagine more businesses. Imagine more homes being built. Imagine more, I don't know, tax reduction. Imagine more this, imagine more that. She starts talking about her family life and how everybody took pride in their lawn, which is just a script. She starts talking in gibberish when in fact there are things that she could say that would make sense and that would pass a fact check, that would suffice for an answer, but she never does. Ever. And that's why at the moment she's failing miserably. That's why she's failing miserably. And we're seeing that being reflected in the polling. Now, why is CNN and Dana Bash of all people coming out and saying this about her, right? Why is Dana Bash doing that? What I believe is this. There has been so much negative backlash towards ABC after that one-sided 3-on-1 debate that was put on with Kamala Harris and ABC moderators versus Donald Trump. That was such an embarrassing display of you could say, of media, right? Of the media, that I think now, to a degree, not a lot, I won't get too carried away, but to a degree, we're going to start to see a little bit more of these DNC news outlets at least pretend to be somewhat objective. Right now, I could sit here right now and I can compare and contrast to how when Kamala Harris was interviewed by Dana Bash Dana really coddled her and was even coaching her into the answers, versus her interviews and conversations with JD Vance, which are always hostile. They have 2 interviews now with each other. Dana's hostile every time. She's hostile with JD Vance every time. So clearly we know the side of the political spectrum that CNN is on and that Dana Bash is on. But once again, the blowback to ABC was so severe, even so much so to the point that ABC, news anchor David Muir's show, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called like Nightly News Tonight or something like that. He saw a 12% decrease in viewership coming off of the lopsided 3-on-1 debate, that now everybody's taking note that, you know what, being this one-sided towards, or I should say in favor of Kamala Harris, isn't a good look. It's definitely not working for her as far as polling is concerned, and it could have very negative blowback towards us as far as ratings are concerned. So we might want to at least pretend a little bit that we're objective, and I believe that's why we're hearing what we just heard from Dana Bash. But let me know what you all think below. That does it for today's news. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble. That is extremely important that you follow me on Telegram and Rumble. Both my Telegram and Rumble links are pinned in the comment section below and in the description box below as well. Thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.